So this is a C200FE differential from an 06 Grand Cherokee WK. I am going to attempt to rebuild it because I can't find anybody to rebuild it, and rebuilt reman ones are anywhere from $2,300 to $3,300. I took the cover off because I wanted to see my backlash. You look here, this is the electronic locking differential, and basically all that is this solenoid, when it receives power from the ECU, it locks up, I don't know, like the heck you'd even call it. It locks up like a gear set that's inside of this. You can see this move. And basically it's a pump, it's a hydraulic pump. So it stops the flow of gear oil, which compresses a clutch pack inside of here. There's a really cool video about it on how it works on YouTube. I can look it up. I think like Eaton makes a video about it. Maybe I can link that in the description somewhere. But essentially I have 8 thousandths of backlash, which is really good. Maybe 9. And I think spec is in between 6 and 10. So that's actually really freaking good for something that has 215,000 miles on it. So this may have been rebuilt or replaced at some point in that vehicle's lifetime. I don't know. And the only reason why I know it's got 215 is because I hooked up a Milwaukee battery to the power in the vehicle and saw the odometer. So basically I'm just going to start tearing this thing down. And prop shaft would come out of here, and then this axle shaft housing would come off. Now there's a seal on the inside here, and there's also, where is it? There should be a seal. There it is. Probably wind up replacing that. It smells burnt. There it is. Pull that, set that aside. Here you can see that snap ring. So there's a snap ring on these, and that's technically your shim. There's one on either side. I'm going to pull this off of here. So Dorman makes a replacement solenoid, and that comes with a new wire. And I'll show you later, polarity matters on these. So if you're like me, so what I've done is I have wired this up to a toggle switch inside so I can use it like it's a locker, because my WK is not a limited. And I actually kind of prefer that method better, because now I'm the one that has control over when the front diff is locked. So when I am off-roading or out playing in the woods, I have that ability to lock my front diff. And that's the only option for these WKs. The only way to have a front locker is to have this differential. This thing looks like it's been leaking. So I'll throw that to the side. I'm going to put this bolt back in here for now. That way I don't lose it. You can see whoever did the service on this. I mean, that's way too much RTV. Guys, if you've got that much RTV squishing out that it's covering your bolt threads, you're doing something wrong. Also, the cool thing about the junkyard is you can cut the connector off, and now you have this connector. So I'll just hold on to that for now. The other thing too is if you're looking for gears, if you're looking to replace the gears, good luck. So National Differential, they will sell you a reman one, you give them your core back. If you don't have the electronic ELSD, if you don't have the ELSD, and you give them back your just plain old open differential, they give you half the core charge back. So the core charge is like $500, but somehow they rebuild them. I don't know. I would imagine that they replace the gears when they rebuild them, because they're charging, I think, $2,300. There's some other company I can't think of, because I looked at them and I was like, get out of here. They wanted, I think, 33 or 35 for a rebuilt one. So I don't know where they're getting the gears from, but nobody makes them. I can't find them anywhere. I've searched as much as I can search. I don't know if I was a I don't know, friggin' guy that's what I did my whole life. I'd probably have those connections and I probably would know where they got these, but I have no idea. Joe Schmo going and buying the ring gear, ring and pinion for this. Pff, good luck. Good luck. Nobody will sell you one because nobody makes them that I know of, that I could find. So the only other thing to get this out of here now would be pulling. Here's that other snap ring on this side. So you got to pull these snap rings, which they determine your carrier preload. It's a lot cleaner than the one that I put in my Jeep. I put one in already. This is the second one I've bought. That first one, when I pulled the cover off, it was way worse than this. So I kind of feel like this might have been serviced, like rebuilt. I'm not too sure though, but I'm going to rebuild it as practice. That's what I'm doing. I'm going to practice rebuilding this differential. I'm going to hope it's good. If everything's good, that's great. I may use it or keep it. And then I have the other one that's in my Jeep currently, and what I would do with that is rebuild it. If I can do a good enough job on this one, I'll rebuild that one and then sell one of the two and hopefully try to recoup some money, because I've had to buy tools. So to get this carrier out, you need a spreader, a differential spreader. And you've got to use these adapters. So this is Miller 9669, and basically one of them mounts backwards. This one mounts this way. So these holes line up here, and that gives you the hole for the spreader. And the flat side, just remember the flat side takes the flat side on that side, and that gives you the other side for the spreader. I think the maximum amount of spread you want to do is 5 millimeters. I think you can get it out with 3 millimeters, but I'm going to try to get it out without using the spreader because I don't have it yet. It's on its way. But I've spent a ton of money on freaking tools that, I'll use a couple of times in my life. This is going to go on the back of this, so I have something to put a breaker bar on and hold the pinion or the yoke from spinning. What was this tool? Yeah, of course I had to buy the dial indicator. I've got a bearing and race press tool coming, and something else. There's a couple other things. Nothing major. I mean, all in all together, if I can get this thing rebuilt along with new bearings, which you can get, I'll list those in the description as well. I think I spent I want to say $600. The bearing, the new bearings are like $200 from O'Reilly's, and I went with them because I could get Yukon makes a better gear set or a better bearing set, but I'm going to wait to make sure that this is good, and I'll use the better bearing set on the other differential. So I figured for $200 for a set of bearings, that's your carrier bearings and your pinion bearing. It also comes with a pinion seal, and you can see this one's been leaking. So $600, it's got me most of the tools. The only thing I don't have, which I'd love to have, would be like a press, like a 12-ton press. And I can't justify spending any more money right now. Yeah, I can get one from Harbor Freight. I think they're $200 for like the good one, $250 maybe. But for pressing on the bearings, or I'm going to wind up using this, just a punch. It's basically a brass punch, so it won't mar anything. We'll see how that goes. Also, heating up the bearings up to 200 degrees and then sliding them onto the pinion. We'll see how that goes as well. Hopefully I don't need a press. I mean, we'll see. My goal is to try and do this for less than $1,000, because that's still half of what a rebuilt one would cost me. So I'm going to get this cleaned up, and I'll pull out these these snap rings and see how much movement I actually have, and go from there. We'll see. Let's see if I bend these or not. Yeah, it's gonna take way more than that. You can watch me lose my eye. Famous last words, huh? Damn. Maybe I need different tips. So I did get the snap ring out. There is, and it's probably really hard to see, there is a slot in the housing. And I wound up not even being able to use that, but I'm sure that's how I'm going to wind up putting this back together. So I'll wind up pushing this in on one end and working it in. Anyway, I got it out of there just so I can remember what side that goes on, because I'm sure it's going to get a mess over here. So white, left, left, white, wire, left. Set that over there out of the way. So actually what I wound up doing was I was able to get these long needle nose, the cheap crap from Harbor Freight, and they work just as good. I got them in there on one side of that snap ring, and then I was able to work several screwdrivers around at a time, actually 2 at a time. And then I was able to get underneath it at one point, and I used this pick to get underneath it and hold it. And I was able to just work it all around until I can get it all the way up and out. So I'm going to record doing the other side and see how much fun we have there, because that was a good time. And this side will be harder to do because it won't stay up like I would like it to. There was a seal here, and you know, I started without you guys. And I removed it a while ago. So I'm going to do with what I know works and what worked. And I just get under the one edge here, get my pick in here. Maybe. So I lost audio, but here I'm just taking off the bearing cap. There's only one on this, and you just want to keep it in the correct orientation. It'll go back on only one direction, so you couldn't even flip it if you wanted to. So with the bearing cap off, you want to pull this to the left side. You'll see it kind of come out sort of on an angle, and also the bearing races pop out with it. I discover something funny here at this point too. If I had just pulled off the bearing cap right from the beginning, I wouldn't have had to struggle with the pump side of that C-clip. It would have just popped right out. I wouldn't have had to struggle on that end. These bearing races came out pretty easy once the carrier's out. They weren't really pressed in there. There was no tension, nothing really holding them on, so they came out nice. So this is where I discovered that if I had just pulled this cap off, I could have easily pulled that C-clip right out, and that would have freed up so much effort. I'm sure had I pulled that out, I probably could have pulled the carrier out without even pulling the other C-clip. So yeah, I didn't know, but now I do, and now you do. So this is where I got a little bit nervous, but I think it'll be okay. So this is the gerotor pump, and that's the pickup tube, and that is full of silicone, because whoever put that diff cover on last smeared a whole tube of silicone RTV onto this cover. So I'm hoping not too much of that actually got sucked up into the pump here. If it did, it is a mechanical pump. I can't imagine that it would harm it too much. It probably just squirted it out the other end. Who knows? So hopefully this is fine. I guess I'll find out when I slap it in. This came in the mail. So this was from O'Reilly. Part number is RA308, and that is the bearing kit. Comes with RTV. Also comes a marking compound, a little brush, some Loctite, your carrier bearings, your pinion, inner and outer bearing, crush sleeve, pinion, gasket, and a new pinion nut. So that's kind of cool. And the one thing I noticed that I was actually really surprised about, because I figured this was made in China, it's actually made in Japan. So I wish they were Timken bearings, but you know, I'll take Japanese bearings over Chinese bearings any day of the week. So kudos to you guys at O'Reilly's. The other thing I had to do today, when I was at Lowe's, I picked up this 1.25" 12-point socket. I have a bunch of 12 points. I had 1 1/8" and 1 5/16", and none of them were correct. So this is correct. I thought it was going to be a 33 millimeter, but it wasn't. This was only about $7. So that's cool. And I can get my pinion bearing off today. So I'm going to try and get this pinion nut out of here. You can see there's where they pinch it over. That's their safety feature from keeping it coming off of there. So I got to try and get that out of there. Let's see what happens here. I absolutely love this impact tool, by the way. So here I was just using a hammer to get the pinion out of the yoke, and I was able to get the yoke off first, and then I continued to use the hammer to get it through the bearing. Ooh, at least that wasn't the pinion. Here's the crush sleeve. Surely gets crushed on there too. And what I'm going to do is tap. Sorry about the camera here. Tap, there's a little lip edge right here. I'll just go all the way around that. Tap that out of the way, and then I'll come the other way and I'll tap this one out. Ting. Yeah, I don't know. Don't know if that comes out of there or not. Show you guys if I can. So, it's basically this ring right here. I don't know if I can get it to move again. I'm not sure what's up with that. But imagine that is the shim. But I don't know how to get it out of there. That works. Let's see. Yeah, I'll give this thing a deep douching. At some point, I want to see if I can't get that freaking thing out of there, or if it's supposed to come out. And here's another spacer here. I'm not sure how easy it's going to be to get that. The crush washer is here. So actually off camera, I just did this. Tapped it, little love tap. Bada bing. Bada boom. These things, well, this I don't care about losing. This has to go back on the right way. That would be very important. It's also beveled. Bevel down, bevel side down. Note to myself when I'm rewinding this going, which way does that go? And why isn't this working right? Because I didn't put this in right. So bevel side down, flat side up. So I just got the shim out finally. This is what sits behind the race on the pinion bearing, the inside pinion bearing at least. That sucker's huge, man. It's way bigger than what I thought would come out of there. So I've got it cleaned up and I'm going to set that off to the side. And the way I got it out of there was I just kept spraying cleaner in there and spinning it with my fingers, and it finally like broke the gunk loose and broke the seal. Seal as in it was stuck in there. So got it free. It's out. Now I can clean up the housing, get that thing good to go and out of here until I can get these bearings off the pinion and the carrier. That's the next fun task. So I'm going to clean this up. I'll do that off camera probably. Well, I guess to get these bearings off the pinion, I'm going to wind up having to cut it. So I'll try to cut the race, the cage, on a couple sides, maybe. And then I'll use a angle grinder to cut the race off of there. Carefully, of course. And to find a different tool. Grab two drivers here. Two screwdrivers. I probably should have just cut it on the other side to make it a little bit easier to get these off, but this works too. Get out. And this is what I'm trying to do. I'm just going to try and cut it on an angle. I've seen other guys on YouTube do that. See how that goes. Dang. I can't get too much closer to that edge. Yeah, see, I cut. Oh, mother. I knew I was cutting into it. I just knew it. Somebody let me know how bad that is. Should I give up now? Thoughts? Alright, so it's been a couple days since I was here because I freaked the hell out when I got the race off of this here pinion and realized how badly I gouged that. That's really freaking bad. So I just thought I was screwed and figured I would stop doing what I was doing. I had no idea I cut it that deep. Like, ugh. This thing seemed so much thicker while I was cutting. Anyway, my buddy Blair, thank you Blair, and my other buddy Porky. But should be good, so I'm gonna roll with it. They said they do it all the time. They're both professional mechanics. Happens. So moving on. I did realize I could have gotten a different puller, which Harbor Freight carries. It's this fantastic thing here. It's only like less than 60 bucks. Anyway, this isn't a review on any of these tools. It's just what I've been doing to hopefully rebuild this differential. I guess if I had to cut the race, there is a notch here and a notch here, and I think that's meant for an actual tool, a different tool that pulls. So I don't know those other ones they sell at Harbor Freight would work. They might, they probably would. But this is what I got. This is what I'm working with. This is what I'm gonna do without stabbing my freaking finger. Let's get that in there. There we go. Not really sure why I'm going to save those. I don't know what I would do with them, but I feel the need to keep them. Use them for something. Yeah, so I think I could pull up on the top portion of that race. The other thing I have is Amazon special. Is this race and bearing kit? Bearing, race, and seal driver kit, sorry. And I think if I were able to get one of these to fit inside, I might have something for that other puller to work on. Look at that, oh, that's perfect. That fits inside of the carrier with that lip sitting on the top. I wonder if I'll be able to. No, dang, I need something else. I think it's under that lip. Yeah, I think it is. All right, I gotta find something that fits over that hole to stop that from going through. Huh. Let's try that. All right, let's try this. Nope, wrong way. Nice. Something went well, and I didn't score the crap out of it. One down. And the scary side to go. Oh man, this one makes me nervous. So I did find out that you can get a ring and pinion for this. Only problem is it's probably about $1,100, and the only person I could find it from was National Differential, and the only way they get it is they order them specifically through Dana. They must have obviously a special relationship with them. They also, National Differential had used ones, but they said none of them were good enough that they felt comfortable selling. And they don't really sell to the public in that sense. They sell differentials, but they won't sell parts. And I think the girl's name was Tanya. She was fantastic. She's very nice, but she said they would work with me because they understood the situation. Apparently they bought every ring and pinion gear from Dana that was in existence, apparently. I don't know how they were able to do that and why Dana doesn't make any more. Obviously because these things are not meant to be serviced. They're just meant to be replaced. So I have no idea. But at any rate, you can get them. That's nerve-wracking. It's supposed to do that. You can get them. It's just not easy. Or cheap. But what I was saying was that these pumps are completely not serviceable. Apparently, if you F up the seals inside of it, there's like two O-rings. So once this bearing is off, if you were to try to slide that housing apart, you're going to have serious problems because you'll damage the rings and you'll never get parts for it. So you're basically effed. So once I'm done with this, I'm not doing anything else to this thing. I'm going to set it aside other than getting new bearings on it. As far as I know, it works. And the only other thing I will do is replace the actuator because I don't know if that works. Just getting a bend in this thing so I can get something in there to cut it. There we go. There's a tiny bit of movement up and down on this. I don't know if that's normal or good. I don't know. It's a little nerve-wracking. So anytime I've seen someone use this on the internet, it's been positioned this way. I'm sure that's probably accurate because you need that bevel. But on this bearing, there is not enough clearance to flip it that way. It's hitting the tabs, and that's the locking tabs that stop this from spinning inside the housing. So hopefully I can flip it like this and make it work still. Yeah, nothing's touching anywhere. Nice. I'm actually really impressed with that. That was so freaking easy. Okay, so now I can see what they're saying about messing with this thing. So there is a lip. I don't know if you can see it when I spin that, but I'd imagine if you pulled this pump off of the shaft of this carrier, that when you go to put it back on, this lip probably catches and will screw up those O-rings. So yeah, definitely I wouldn't touch that. The one side says Koyo USA. The other side says Koyo Japan. Interesting. All right, so I went to the house and I grabbed my toaster oven. To my wife's chagrin, I would show her face on camera and the face she made, but she would be even more unhappy with me. So maybe, boys, don't tell the wife. Don't tell her what you're doing here with the toaster oven. Don't let her see you take it. So I'm gonna do these at, I think, 250. Maybe 300. Let's do 300. I just don't want them too hot because then you could damage them. And we'll do that for about 20 minutes. Ting. Fries are done. All right. So hopefully this one's hot enough. Smoking. Nope. Definitely does not work the way you think it's going to work. Hopefully that pinion bearing works the way I hope it's going to work.
Wow, the heat's actually traveling through this. I can feel it. It's very hot, actually. She's toasty. Or super toasty.
It's definitely sliding on a little easier.
Damn.
Let's switch bearing caps. This one's cold still. I think she's on there. Yep, we still have spinach. And I didn't. Alright, I'm gonna try the pinion now. Ding! Yep, fries are done. You know, I've gotta say it. Just gotta say it. Get you guys set back up. See how this goes. What? What? No way. No way. What? I think it's in there. I think she's all the way down. Let's show her on the floor once. Give her a little tap, 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 tap. Go to your home. Oh yeah. Yeah, I think she's all the way down. That's fantabulous. Fantabulous, and she still spins. So the only bad thing about that bearing and seal driver kit is the frickin', whatchamacallit, it's not a big enough adapter for the frickin', for this race. Cage, whatever, I don't know, this is a race. Keep calling everything the wrong thing. So if I recall correctionally, yeah, this is beveled on both sides. I really don't think it matters which way it goes back in, but she definitely has to go back in. She's in. So the fun part's going to be trying to get this sucker in there. I imagine I could use the old race. Oh, and just for reference, what I took out of there is a Koyo bearing. Yeah, Koyo USA on the old bearing. Don't know how hard or easy it will be to read that, but it does say Koyo, and that's the old one. And this one also says Koyo, Japan. There's a number on it. Let's see. HM803110-N. They are both the same part number. So I really don't think I'm going to have to F with Pinion preload too much in terms of shimming anything. I'm just going to try to put it back the way I took it apart. Only because everything's going the same. So I'm putting the same bearings back in. You would think everything would be identical. Yeah. This is going to be really fun. This is the part I'm not looking forward to. Actually, this is a fucking project I've been not looking forward to. I don't know how I'm going to drive this in here. I think she's in there. Sweet. She's in there. I'll look from the other side to see if that's actually seated all the way, but I think it is. I don't know if we'll be able to even freaking tell. Yeah, it's up against that. It's really hard to see. It's up against that shim that had to go in there. And it sounded like it was in, so cool. Pinion has cooled down. Oh yeah, there's a bevel on the inside of this, and that faces towards the gear. So the flat portion of this faces up.
We have insertion? Oh yeah. Oh, she's so good to go. Just crank it down. Yeah. The fun part, I think, well, this whole thing is a fun part, is going to be this bearing, because it requires some other type of special tool that I don't have and I don't know where to get. Yeah, I don't freaking know. Let's get you out of here. Do I heat this one as well? See what happens? I think so. And am I making a mistake by using the good crush washer right now? Or should I wait? I mean, should I stick the crush washer in the heat as well? I just don't know. You fellers think I'm doing it wrong? I do everything wrong. Let me move you guys. You don't want to look at my shoulder. What's wrong with me? Yeah, I'm gonna try and heat it, see what happens. Oh, I'm so stupid. Man, I'm glad you guys told me. Don't forget to put this waste in there, mister. Oh, jeez, that worked out wonderfully. All right. Yeah, there's some other piece that they used, and it squoze that on there, so I'm not really sure how I'm going to do this. So I sort of got the bearing started off camera here. I put it on here. I got this thing, the yoke. I did a couple of love taps to get it going. Now the bearing's on, but I just don't have enough threads poking out of there. So I'm not really sure what I'm going to do. So I just kept smacking the yoke, and now I think I have enough threads to start the nut. And I'll use the yoke and the nut to seat that bearing and get the proper preload. I've also got this pinion seal to put in, so I got to be very careful not to mess this up as well. I am going to use some RTV on it because that other one was leaking, I think, who knows where, but I'm just going to use it. I've got it. Might as well do it. Just going to use a tiny bit. I'm sure they give you this whole tube for the diff cover. Alright, just a thin little layer. That's all we need. I'll get it started. And we'll go gently around the outside. Alright, got the new seal in there. And wiped off the excess goop that came out. I just tapped it in. I could have used that bearing and seal press kit, but my pinion's sticking out, so. Plus also there's a lip on this. So I don't know, I'd probably wind up crushing that, and I don't want to do that. So I figured tapping it would be the best way to do it. Alright, got the new pinion nut. I got enough thread sticking out of this thing. Should be able to get it started. And it just barely gets started. Oof. Now I'm going to take this part, Scamazon, and mount this to my yoke. This is how I'm doing this. Once I get to a certain point when that doesn't happen anymore, I'll start checking with an inch-pound torque wrench to see my preload. So now I'm into that crush sleeve. Everything's really tight in terms of me trying to turn that nut. Still loose here, but I took my jack handle. That's gonna go in this bad boy. I don't know what that is. Is that a 1/2 inch? It's huge. And I got this big pipe here. It's pretty big. And we're gonna see how this goes. Oh my gosh. That takes so much freaking force. It's not even funny. But I bet you that's that crush sleeve. Oh man. So we're having a friend would be nice. A friend that lived close by. Oh my god. It does say this takes a shit ton of force. So, we'll see. My goodness. I just don't want to get ahead of myself. I don't want to take my time. So, I'm going to struggle. You'll see me struggle for a second there, but I'm doing this off camera. Alright, I'm going to stop where I'm at. I got most of the play out of it. It's not super tight. At least I don't think. I don't know. What do I know? I hope that's not over tightened. This is what I'm using. We'll see. So pinion torque to rotate should be between 13 and 17 inch-pounds without the carrier installed. So right now it's looking like this thing sucks. And I speak of this stupid inch-pound wrench because I can't find anything else that isn't $5,000. I mean, it looks like I'm right around 5. So I'm going to give it another snug tug or two and see what happens. One thing to note too is that the nut they give you with the new bearing kit doesn't have this collar as long as this collar. I mean, it's probably half the height. And I'll show you that when I'm done here, but I've really got no way to pinch it together. Get this pipe against my stomach and give it a little tug. I don't know how far to go. Let's try that. And I barely gave it a turn. But I don't want to overdo it because then I'll have to get a new crush sleeve and start all over. Wow, I'm glad I didn't try to do any more than that. honestly, wow, I'm probably right in between. If this is any accurate at all, I'm probably right at like 15. Right in between 10 and 20. It's really hard to see while it's spinning around. But I would say I'm not doing any more. And that is snug. Gonna roll with it, see what happens. So now I'd like to get my carrier set. So I'm really hoping, because all I'm doing is just changing the bearings, that I shouldn't have to worry about backlash and all that crap, because I don't even know where I'd get shims for this thing unless I just use whatever shims I can find. I don't know how that works. Let's see if I can't set that in here kind of first. Guess I'm gonna have to press that in there. Let's just try using the old and then tap her in. There, I guess once they're straight, they go a little easier. There we go. I think I can do that. Oof, man. So what I'll do, I think, is tip this up to get that one on. Yeah, there we go. Nice. Yeah, see, without having that cap on, this goes right in there pretty nicely. All I'm doing is tapping that ring into the groove on this side. Since it's easily accessible. There we go. Which means my cap can go on. These get torqued in 90 foot-pounds. But I'm just going to hand tighten them for now and then get that other side set. And this one ought to be a good time. It's got to be a better tool for this, and I just don't have it. Back in that groove. Everything rotates. That's a good freaking sign. Nice. There's like no backlash. That's not a whole lot of backlash there. 0, 7. I like it. I'm going to do it in one other spot here. Probably should do it in 3 spots. Get a little back pressure on here. The clicking you're hearing is the pump. You're hearing the pump. Just the pump moving. So what I'm doing is just applying a little pressure between the case and the gear.
We go the other way.
This is the important side, I should say. Ooh. Let's see the coast. And the coast side looks really nice. I don't know. Comment. Tell me what you think. I think I'm going to ship it. Okay. This is our diff lock actuator, where it actuates things. The nice thing about this kit is they give you the front and rear, if you have the rear locker as well, which if you're driving a limited, you have both. Anyway, so that way you can put it in either location. Smaller one is for front location. Don't pull the pin. That we pull after we set it into place. We also got our axle shaft seals. This is the right side, and this is the left side. I am going to be removing the bushings today, the diff mount bushings, because they are junk. So Amazon, you can get this bushing mount kit, and really I only bought it for this one. This was 26 bucks. By itself is, how was it, like $30? So it just makes sense to get the two smaller bushings, both of which I won't use because while I'm waiting for them, I'll remove these, so I'll pull these out of this differential, and I'm going to be getting Super Pro poly bushings, which I have in my other diff, and I like them. The problem is in the other diff, I replaced these once, and within, I don't know, 25,000 miles, less than that, actually, they were already bad. They were already going bad. I could see they were effed up. So when I put the other diff in, I put in these poly bushings, and they're great. Do they really transfer a whole lot more noise? Maybe, but not a lot. Nothing that I really noticed. Probably also helped me to hear what's wrong with the other ones, so now that's how I knew that the bearings were bad. Just use a pair of pliers, give it a little wiggle. It should pull straight up. I don't know if this one's good. It might be, so I don't want to destroy it. So I'll save it as a backup. There we go. Boom, out. This diff might have actually been rebuilt. I thought about this the other day. I was thinking, after I pulled out those old bearings and all the part numbers were the same, my guess is they got the same kit as me and rebuilt this once. But it's the same part numbers, so I wonder if this is also a Dorman replacement. But at any rate, like I said, I'm going to keep it. Let's see if I can get some of that stuff out of there. This was very dark black stuff in this diff. Not as black as the other one. That one was really dirty. Like, I didn't see a lot of metal. So my guess is this thing's been replaced once. Rebuilt once, I should say. But I have no idea. I pulled it out of a junkyard. And I wanted to practice on it. So that's what this is all about. That's what this video is all about. It's not really about teaching you anything. Although I probably have, hopefully. Certainly taught myself some stuff. And I plan to rebuild that other one, so when I pull that apart, I'll know how to do it. I also discovered, too, that, the Yukon kit, they call it the Master Rebuild Kit, that one comes with shims for your carrier and your pinion. The O'Reilly kit did not. But that Yukon kit was 468 bucks. So I just, for my first diff rebuild, I figured I would go with what I did here, what you saw me do. I didn't want to spend all that extra money and have it not be good. All that new stuff on here. Just don't want to, slip it in there dry, you know what I'm saying? Get her lined up. Boom. You'll see that circlip popped in place, popped apart, popped where it needed to be. And we got this little fella. Slide the wire through that. Again, I'll put some lube on there. It's pretty tight fit in there too. I wonder why that's so tight. Oh, that's why this one was leaking. There's Nikes. See, that O-ring is pushed out, probably because somebody was having a problem trying to get it in here. And it leaked ever since. I'd imagine if you're doing that while this is still in the car, it's probably not easy to see that. There we go. I'm going to double check that that's seated. I think it's seated pretty well. Oh, and I was also wrong about the cap bolts. They're not 90 foot-pounds. Those are 100 foot-pounds. They need to be torqued to 100 foot-pounds. So I'm going to do that before I put my cover back on. Yeah, differential cap, bearing cap bolts are 100. Axle tube to differential bolts are 41. Fill drain plug, 44. axle dampener bolts. 41, that's this big lump of junk under the bottom. And ELSD connector bolt is 80 inch-pounds. So 10 millimeter. Just gonna give it a love snug. Click, click. Don't forget to plug it in and keep it away from, I mean, for the most part, it'll stay away from that, but you want to keep it away from this part of the pump because that will move around and it will eventually wear a hole in the wire if it's touching. Ah, okay. Cool. There, and you can see that it's up and away from that. It's not touching it. Just twist that little jacket out of the way. It should be good. And this actually should seat farther than the metal, so it actually should go back a little bit. If it's flush, it'll leak. Ask me how I know. What I'll do is I'll take the old one, if I haven't tossed it in the garbage yet. What I'll do is I'll take the old one out of the garbage. There you go. Now it can go in the garbage. Just trying to get most of the junk out because I don't want it back into the differential.
They give you a whole tube. That's pretty cool. So you don't need a whole lot, see? Get your glue finger ready, nice and tight.
These bolts get torqued to 41 as well.